So on the topic of healing from narcissistic abuse, this person is asking, will I ever be the same? Will I ever be able to love another man? Will I ever be able to smile? And will I ever forget the trauma? This is going to be a long video. So will I ever be the same? I think that varies from person to person. And I think that what you do on your healing journey will determine whether or not you're the same person or not. I can speak for myself and say that I am not the same person that I was prior to that relationship, and I never will be the same person again. Prior to going through narcissistic abuse, I had a very optimistic and also naive outlook on life. I always saw the best in everyone. I was a big forgiver, gave people multiple chances. I was a rescuer, a fixer, a saver. And I had this just very innocent view or innocent perspective on life in general. And I think that going through narcissistic abuse truly stripped me of that innocence. I see the world and life and people through a whole different lens now, and I will never go back to how I saw it before. I don't have that innocent, naive, almost bubbly part of me anymore where I'm like, oh, it's okay, everybody f***s up, I forgive you, we can get through this together. No, if you f*** me over, I'm done. I no longer go out of my way to see the best in people. Now I see people for exactly what they show me. Before narcissistic abuse, I was giving every person and every situation empathy as if I were Oprah handing out cars. My transition and my healing journey after going through narcissistic abuse has allowed me to channel my empathy only to situations and people that deserve it. Healing from narcissistic abuse caused me to take a look at parts of myself that I never looked at before. And I saw how much of a people pleaser I'd been my entire life and how I've always put other people and their needs and their happiness before my own. And I also realized I didn't have any boundaries and how these things were really affecting me and my trajectory in life. And I knew that I had to break that cycle. And I will say that living your whole life as a people pleaser who lacks boundaries and trying to turn into a person who prioritizes themselves and sets and enforces strong boundaries is difficult, because at first it almost made me feel like I didn't have a purpose anymore, because my purpose prior to narcissistic abuse was making everyone else happy. But it was such an important lesson for me to learn and a journey to go through to understand that I matter and my needs matter and my happiness matters, and that it's okay to prioritize myself. And I know I'm going on and on and on, but I say all of this to say that there are two different ways you can go after you experience narcissistic abuse. And which way you decide to go on that path will determine whether or not you're ever the same as you were before the experience or not. The first way is that you focus on the narcissist only and the fact that you were abused and how the abuse was not your fault, which it absolutely wasn't. The second way is you do all of that, but then you reach the next level of healing where you look within yourself to see what parts of you need to be healed in order to break this cycle and break these patterns for the future to live a better life. And a lot of times when people go down path one, they end up in another relationship with a narcissist. But when you take it to path two and you take the time to really heal those parts of yourself and build yourself the up, you're less likely to end up in that situation again. Path one might never get you to that place where you see that you need to channel your empathy to only places and people that deserve it. Path two is going to get you to that place and see that narcissists don't deserve that from you. Path one, where you're only focusing on the fact that the abuse wasn't your fault, never gets you to the place to learn to prioritize yourself and learn what your boundaries are and how to set and enforce them. Path two is going to get you there. Path one may result in you going back to old patterns after you start to feel a little bit better when some time passes. And that may result in you having the same mindset of trying to see the best in everybody and having this innocent view on life. Path two is going to get you where you need to be to break those patterns and the cycle of it for good. This is what I mean by whether or not you're ever going to be the same or not depends on what you do in your healing journey. And being different after this isn't necessarily a bad thing. It can really set you up for success to live a better life for yourself when you make changes within yourself. Path two is the more difficult one, and it's also the one that's going to result in the most happiness. And the next question was, will I ever be able to love another man or woman. I'll add that in here so that we all feel included. And my answer is kind of the same here. It depends on what path you choose to take in your healing journey. Some people decide that they never want another relationship again and they swear on it because they don't want to put their heart on the line again and they feel too betrayed and they'll never trust anyone ever again, which is understandable. But for me personally, I did not want to let that experience dictate my future for me. Learning to trust yourself comes first. And when you learn to trust yourself, then you can learn to trust others. The only person that I can speak for is myself and how I feel. Everyone has a different opinion on this, but for me, I think that relationships are really important, whether it's romantic relationships, friendships, family, just relationships with people in general. And healthy relationships require trust. Going down path 2 that I talked about earlier on my healing journey allowed me to get to the place where I trust myself, because I know that I'm going to put myself first and I'm going to look out for myself and I'm going to set those boundaries. And that allows me to trust other people once I can trust myself. Rebuilding a healthy relationship with yourself can help you build healthy relationships with healthy people in the future. So for me, I was able to find love again. I'm engaged to someone. He's wonderful. He's amazing. It's healthy. Everyone's journey is different though. Third question. Yes, you will be able to smile again. I know it seems really dark right now, but brighter days are ahead and you absolutely will smile again. There's happiness after this, I promise. And the last question was, will you ever forget the trauma? I don't think so. I haven't forgotten the trauma and I don't think that I ever will. I think it's something that will always be a part of us, but it doesn't have to be crippling. And healing is not a finish line. It's a forever journey. This video was long as This is probably the longest video I've ever made. I hope y'all watch the whole thing.